I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello. Well, hey, how you doing? Well, howdy. So I'm trying to like make my video intros a little different. It's not going so well. Hey guys, and what's up? Today, we're filming a coffee talk, and you're probably thinking, no you're not, you're filming a vlog. We're combining the two. With spring cleaning my channel, I figured it would be fun to try a new style of video or filming or whatever. We'll see how it goes. But for today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about spring cleaning our minds for, you know, the springtime, thinking more positively and just getting into good, healthy mindsets for the springtime. So I came up with 11 steps/tips that I think are important when it comes to trying to think more positively and spring cleaning your mind. And it's funny because this is actually super relative to my life, because if you guys have been watching my most recent videos, you'll know that I was like in a weird space lately, like headspace and just overall my energy levels. And I was finding it super hard to remain positive and keep a good attitude about things. I didn't see it then, but it was a huge learning process for me, and I overcame a lot of things over the last little bit, especially mentally. And that's why I feel like it's a good time for me to film this video, because these are kind of like the 11 steps that pulled me back into feeling like myself again, and not only just feeling like myself again, but feeling like a more positive and like happier version of myself again. So I have all my tips here, and I'm gonna film this in 11 different places. But seeing as this is a coffee talk, first things first, we need to make a coffee. Better. I feel like you guys have watched me make coffee on camera probably about 1,000 times. So tip number 1 when it comes to spring cleaning your mind is to vent to somebody. Like, think about it this way. When you go to spring clean your house, odds are you need to get rid of all the junk that's there first. So I feel like if you just try and flip your mindset and think more positively without clearing out what's been built up in there, then all it's going to do is mask it until it demands to be felt again. This was my issue over the last little bit. I wasn't really sure exactly what I was feeling or what was going on, so I didn't feel like I could talk to anyone about it. I need to figure it out for myself before I talk about it, and that's not the case. Just talk about it to somebody and you will feel so much better. And this might surprise you guys because I am so open with you guys here on the internet, but in person it takes a lot for me to really trust somebody with my deepest thoughts and feelings. I'm very insecure about how complicated my head can get. Just recently I vented out to somebody who has become very important to me, and that's a topic that we can discuss in another video. Saying it out loud and just getting it out, it was like clearing all of the junk out of my head. You have to let it all go, and the only way to let it go is to get it out there. Write it out to yourself if you really feel like you can't talk to anybody. First step to spring cleaning your mind is clearing the junk.
Then turn right.
Okay. Tip number 2 is to utilize books and quotes and people or YouTube videos, whatever.
Right on Pirandello
Grow
Street.
up.
Then.
So I'll leave a list of all of my favorite audiobooks down below. I find it's always good to know that you have like a good source of inspiration or motivation to go to anytime you feel like you can't get out of a bad mindset. I think I've listened to Youre a Badass, like I'm not kidding you, like 6 or 7 times, but I know every time I finish reading it, I feel so much better, I feel so much different, and I feel so much more motivated, and my brain feels so much more clean. So when it comes to spring cleaning your life, I highly suggest audiobooks, YouTube videos, anything that's going to give you that burst of inspiration and motivation to think more positively, and especially while driving. Audiobooks are incredible for when you have to drive anywhere. Instead of listening to the radio, you pop on a good audiobook, get some motivation and some inspiration before you even get to where you're going. Which brings me to tip number 3, and that is figure out when you start to slip and then fight it. By that I mean it took me a while to kind of realize the certain habits, behaviors, and things that would kind of contribute to me falling back into negative pitfalls. This could be things such as procrastinating, letting like tiny little things like other people's opinions on something, or if someone else was in a bad mood around me, little things like that. I noticed that that would be like a pivotal moment in my mind to when I started to think negatively again. If you can become crisp and clear on the types of things that tend to trigger a negative response within yourself, then it's easier to fight those things and to counteract those things. Not that it's an easy thing to do. There's still things that are gonna put you in a bad mood, but when you know what those things are, it's so much easier to try and fight them. For instance, this is usually the time of day that I like to sit down and take a nap, which then makes me wake up groggy and not happy. So instead, pulling out my laptop getting some work done. So tip number 4 is to change up your routines in your environment. Changing up my morning routine has been one of the biggest things in terms of helping me get motivated and feel like positive and inspired again. I think when you're doing the same old thing over and over again, it's easy for you to think the same old thoughts over and over again. Waking up at a different time, changing where your bed is in your room, taking a different way to work, or ordering a different drink in the morning from Starbucks. When you change up your routines and you change up your environment, it kind of gives you a fresh perspective. Not only that, if you're trying to change your mindset, I find that the more things you change around you, it's going to kind of keep that inspiration. So yeah, change it up. It's good for you. My next tip when it comes to spring cleaning your mind is every time you go to bed to find 10 things that you're grateful for. Because if you're anything like me, a lot of the times, especially when I'm feeling super anxious or things are just like all of the things are happening, it can be a little difficult for me to fall asleep because there will be these negative, pessimistic thoughts rolling through my head all the time. Like, I have so much to do tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to get it done, or tomorrow's going to be a crappy day. Or even worse, you're sitting there thinking about how bad the day was leading up to going to sleep. So when you make it a habit to find like 10 things that you're grateful for before you go to bed every night, it can even be as simple as waking up and being able to breathe, seeing your dog, things like that. If you find 10 things every single night before you go to bed to be grateful for, it definitely helps to retrain and spring clean your mind to be more positive. It makes you have a better sleep and wake up feeling more positive than you did the day before. Gonna go ahead and, tuck my shelf in, think about my 10 things, and night night. You're number 1 on the list. My next tip for spring cleaning your mind is to use affirmations. Trust me when I say that, like, I used to think that affirmations were like kind of lame and a little bit corny and I'd feel super weird about it, but I'm telling you, they actually work. I'm not saying you have to sit there and like constantly be like, I love myself, I'm a beautiful soul. I like to use affirmations in the sense that when I notice myself spiraling and getting super negative and thinking a lot of negative thoughts, especially when I'm by myself, I like to out loud say some affirmations that are usually going to make me feel better and help me like counteract the thoughts I'm having. So an example of that is if I'm feeling like everything's going to go wrong today and this is going to go wrong and I don't even want to do this because I already know that it's not going to happen, I'll like stop myself dead in my tracks and out loud say something like, nope, I'm going to have the most productive day in the world. And saying things like that out loud and affirming yourself, or you can even write them down in a journal, it completely stops your negativity dead in its tracks and shifts it to a new perspective. Even if you don't fully believe it with your whole heart yet, saying it out loud makes it feel just a little bit more real. Sorry if you guys can't hear me. Of course, a train goes by as soon as I go to film this. As for my next tip for you guys, it is to actually meditate. So I'm sitting outside with you guys right now because this is where I like to do my meditation. It sounds super lame, but honestly, every single morning and every single night, I try to come out here and just sit before I go to bed. And sometimes I'll think about certain things. Sometimes I'll like light a candle and put it on the table here. Trying to meditate every day will make such a world of a difference on your peace of mind. It's just giving yourself that time to kind of like collect your thoughts, like make sense of everything that's going on in your life and trying to find the positive in anything and kind of erase all of the things that are bouncing around in your head all the time and just find this like peace of mind. It's not a habit that you guys have already. I highly suggest meditating, especially if you can do it outside. It will make a world of a difference on your life, let me tell you. All the answers we seek are within. If you give yourself the time to kind of like think about it, you'll usually figure out your answer or find the positivity in any given situation. Mighty windy out today. As for my 8th tip, it is to have a backup plan. And if you're confused about what I might mean by that, I mean have like a favorite person that you go to, a favorite video that you watch, maybe even a playlist or a song. Go work out, get yourself your favorite treat, have something that you do as a backup plan that you know always puts you in a good mood. If you have a favorite person that talks you out of that negative mindset, or if working out makes you feel super good and positive after, or if going out and getting your favorite coffee or listening to your favorite song pumps you up and makes you feel positive and good, always have that ready to go as a backup plan if all else fails. So freaking windy. Whenever I find myself in a super negative mindset, I love to throw my headphones on, play some like super upbeat or like some like gangster rap music and dance around my apartment. As for my next 2 tips, number 9 is to be patient with yourself. This is something that I struggle with because I guess I'm a little bit more impatient than I like to admit, and once I decide something, I tend to put a lot of pressure on myself to be 100% perfect at it right away. And a lot of you guys might relate to that, and so when I'm trying my hardest to be a more positive person and I catch myself in negative mindsets, I tend to kind of beat myself down for it, which then only creates more negativity. If you realize that it's okay to be a little patient with yourself, that you're not going to be 100% perfect right away, it's kind of like a muscle. You need to work on the way you think and your thought process and mindfulness in order to become a more positive person. And And if you go into it already understanding that you're gonna have to be a bit patient with yourself, it's going to make it a lot easier. And tip number 10 is to make positive thinking a habit rather than something that you're trying to do. Let me explain in case you're confused. I was rereading You Are a Badass the other day, as I already told you guys in this video, and one of the sections of that book, she talks about the difference between trying and deciding. When you decide, you are making the full decision to go at it full force versus trying where you're kind of going at it and expecting a chance where it might not work out. So if you make it something that is a habit rather than something you're trying to do, it ingrains it that it's something that is already yours. It's something that you've decided on. It's something that you're not going to quit until you get there, versus trying is something that you do until it becomes too hard or too uncomfortable and then you give up. Hopefully that made sense. So don't just try, decide. Yes, I'm wearing a shirt that says Moose. Don't ask questions I don't have the answers to. As for my last and final tip when it comes to spring cleaning your mind for the springtime, it is to think big. This is the biggest tip I use for myself anytime I find myself spiraling, falling into a rut, kind of getting into that victim mentality of feeling super negative and like poor me and why is the whole world out to get me and everything sucks all the time. I remind myself to think of the bigger picture, and it always pulls me out of those mindsets. And by thinking of the bigger picture, I mean remind yourself, you right now at this very second, look at the time, look at what's around you. How old are your absolute favorite people right now? What is your favorite song right now? Take in every single detail of what is happening with your life right at this second, because if we let ourselves constantly be blinded by negativity, then we tend to miss it all. We tend to forget that we're just humans on this freaking rock that's spinning and like orbiting around a star in a universe amongst billions upon trillions and trillions of endless galaxies, and we have no idea why we're here. We tend to forget how much of a miracle it is to wake up and to breathe and to have the opportunities we do and to have the people around us that love us and to have the things around us that we love to do. You will not find one person on this earth that doesn't deal with some sort of problem. Everybody's going through crap. You have the highlighter in your hands. Do you want to highlight the negative or do you want to highlight the positive? Anytime I think of the bigger picture, anytime I kind of check into the moment around me, I realize that my parents are getting older, I'm getting older, this won't always all be here, I won't always all be here. It really helps put into perspective how minuscule and tiny the negative things that I'm letting soak up every single moment of my life are. Absolutely everybody on this earth deals with negativity, and if anything, we almost need it to understand and appreciate the positivity and the joy in life. When our time does come, we don't feel as though we've let all of this negativity cast a shadow on everything else in our lives. We understood its balance and we decided to still focus on the good. So think big. So that is it for my tips when it comes to spring cleaning your mind and thinking more positively for the springtime. So no matter what you're going through, I'm here for you. I feel you. All of us are all in this together. And other than that, I love you guys to the moon and back, and I'll see you guys all in my next spring cleaning video. Or actually, my next video is not a spring cleaning video, it's a vlog, but the video after that is another spring cleaning video. I'm just gonna see you. I'm just gonna see you. Bye, guys.